Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon and welcome to this session. So we're going to talk about the cortisol. The cortisol is another element that you need to understand to know why you have certain behaviors, whether in your subordinates or in your bosses. So you have two kidneys, and on top of the kidney, you have what you call two triangular. You have what you call two triangular elements, which is the adrenal glands. The adrenal gland, there are two. They sit just directly on top of the two kidney. And so what you can see here is, just a minute, let me bring this up here, okay? Just a minute, I just want to check if I can see. Okay, I'm just trying to read your message a little bit so I can see what is there. So the cortisol is what you would call is a stress hormone. For those that are doctors who did studied medicine, you will know that your hormones, they run through the blood, whereas your tissues, the nerves, they go through the nervous system. And so your neurons, the cortisol, is just outside the outer part of your adrenal gland is where you have the cortisol. So the cortisol is the hormone that reacts to stress and adapt the body to stress state. And so what happens most time is that, when individuals, so if you have a subordinate, so for example, you are in a COVID-19 time, people have different level of stress. And sometimes we always feel that when stress comes, so there's a stress like a swing, it comes. And sometimes what we assume as leaders sometimes is that, so for example, if you lose a dear one, a loved one, whether based due to COVID or non-COVID, right? That can cause a lot of stress. And so it has an impact on your cortisol. And what that does is over time, so if you lose someone, you have a divorce, so there's a divorce case, you can't pay the bills, it can lead to what you call accumulation of stress. And when stress accumulates, what happens is that you find out that your cortisol is what you call, stays on what you call the on mode. So the adrenal gland, more often than not, is only on what you call the on mode. What it means is that your adrenal gland is always on. And so a lot of times, from a cortisol perspective, you find out that when you sleep, your cortisol, does a lot of work. So when you wake up, it produces. So the adrenal gland produces a lot of cortisol. Cortisol is produced just, the outer part of the gland. So when you sleep, a lot of cortisol is produced, is made. And so as you work during the day, it goes. For those that are working the night, like security guards that work in the night, the reverse is the case. And so what happens is that when you have this accumulated stress, this cortisol, the cortisol is constantly now on what you call the on state. It means that you are not able to, switch off your cortisol. So it's hard to turn off the cortisol because the adrenal gland only has the on switch. All stress, particularly severe stress, accumulates because of this on switch. It is very important for us to understand that. So if you ask people honestly how they feel about their job, a very large proportion are disengaged. If you also ask people, why did you leave your job? A lot of people will say, I left it because of my boss. If you ask a lot of people again, why did they leave your job? They will say they left because of my organization, But when it comes to job, a lot of people are just trying to get on. And this is not a topic to really discuss. A lot of employees that, in this part of the world, they are actually very much disengaged. So the above statement is a rough index. Most times, of when you see people that have
They know they now.
when you have people who, please
I
mute
no
your
see
mic,
your daily
please
abeg.
your mic. Edmond, please mute your mic, please. So please mute your mic. So you find out that those individuals who just kept going, all they do, there's the accumulation of stress due to certain things in the workplace, whether they believe that the organization is not fair to them, or they have a boss who is, always on them, under excessive pressure. So those individuals just get going. We don't really have much time to discuss the nitty-gritty of, why those happen. But the above statement is a rough index, really, of having little cortisol. They are in the wrong brain state of mind. So what happens is that the cortisol works with the brain. And so that is the area that is able to regulate, your stress hormone, to be able to adjust. And sometimes when you are in that stress mode, an individual who is with low cortisol. So when you have low cortisol, that means your cortisol is always on the hormone. So as you get such people more motivated, so what leaders need to know is my subordinate cortisol, is it low? Is it too high? Because when it is low, you find out that you will see them sleeping in the office, the way they are not behaving well, they are in very funny mood, they are, so when they are in that state, you need to know the conversations you need to have with them. And that is why you need to know how emotions are expressed just in with facial expression. And so if you're able to know that not all emotions are expressed verbally. So if you give such individual too much pressure, too little support, too little time, too little staff, too much to do, they start to feel overwhelmed, then they fall short, and performance suffers. They begin to underperform because they have too little cortisol, or they have excessive cortisol. It is very, very important. So the art of leadership really is to help people. So why you need to understand this is that your role as a leader, particularly in the COVID-19 time, is to help people get and stay in their optimal state of performance. It is very key for us to know that where people actually get to their best, when people are actually at their best, that is when you get the best from those person. And so Daniel Goleman says that from a neurological point of view, this means that helping people get and stay in the best internal state. And what is that internal state? That best state of the brain, the optimal state, is called flow. The flow is that the best internal state that employees are, and they feel happy, and they feel like they want to do great job. They can perform. And so that is the state you really want them to be. But you wouldn't be able to know if you do not understand how the stress hormone called cortisol, how it works, and how it's able to move what they call the mood swing. How it's always on if it is too little and if it is too high in individuals. So it is very important that we understand that. But it's important to know, so how do you get people to be in the flow state? Don't go. We need to share those 3 programs. And so it is good to have EI skills, but EI skill is not enough. You need other behaviors in your repertoire. You need other behaviors. You need transformational leadership behavior. You need authentic leadership. You need servant leadership. And you will still need more. Howard Gardner said you need multiple intelligences. So thank you very much, and thank you for your time, and God bless you, and God bless Nigeria.